All right, today is August the 10th, which is exactly 1 month from when our average first frost date is. So it's time for a garden tour. And if you hear cows in the background, those are the renters' cows. This time around, I'm going to start at the chain link fence. And here we have these are the chocolate cherry tomatoes. They're looking pretty good, getting pretty tall. They're still behind for the time of year, but they are producing. Nothing is maturing yet, but they're starting. And at the end here, we have our goldy yellow zucchini, which has finally started to show, will you focus, female flowers. Here we have a tomato I found among the potatoes, a self-seeded one. I transplanted it, and it's doing pretty darn good. And we have not been actually using these potatoes, so they're just staying in the ground. I had to put this netting down because a deer showed up and chomped on this single lettuce that I was wanting to go to seed. And, the lettuce is recovering. I've got the kohlrabi protected because I figured if it would go for the lettuce, it would go for the kohlrabi. And they've gotten big enough that I've thinned them, but it looks like the cats like to go under here and lie on them. There's not much I can do about that, unfortunately. Then we have the last couple of potatoes over here. These ones never bloomed, so I think they're still productive. I am watering these ones still. The other ones I'm not, since they're clearly done. But we'll see how these ones turn out. We've got our asparagus and strawberry bed here, and the deer kept going for the strawberries. The strawberry plants are growing back. Well, 3 of them are. One of them seems to be completely dead now. And the asparagus is trying to do its thing, still recovering from flooding. And our sunchokes are nice and tall. I'm quite pleased with these. They seem to be doing quite all right this year. Here we have our late season potatoes. These are the German butterballs. They're finishing off their season little by little. So we should be able to harvest these fairly soon. And over here, the carrots, haven't been harvesting them. I'm trying to get them to get bigger. I've basically harvested once and that's it. And I don't know what's going on with them, but the chard that we planted to replace the spinach is growing. And much to my surprise, even though, I don't know, you can see on some of these, the deer have been eating the leaves. I've tried to put this netting up closer to it, but they're still producing, which is kind of nice. I mean, they're not doing much, but it's enough that when I'm doing my morning rounds, I can grab a pod or two and have it for breakfast. So with this bed, I added a nice thick mulch of grass on top of the cardboard that was already here. And I don't know if that was it or just because it was time. These have been doing a lot better since the last time I made any recordings. The eggplants are blooming quite a bit, but these ones seem to be just dropping their flowers, not producing eggplant yet. This is the classic eggplant. With the peppers, there's quite a few hot peppers forming. This one here actually got chomped by a deer and is recovering quite nicely. I guess the deer decided it didn't like hot peppers because it hasn't tried to eat it since. Oh, there's a nice big pepper over there. But yeah, this is what we got so far with the peppers. And with these, we got, my finger, sorry. We got the little finger eggplant. And these ones, it does look like we actually have some fruit trying to form. But I don't know if they'll have enough time for the remainder of our growing season to grow properly and fully mature. Hopefully, I don't know, depending on how things go, we might try to put plastic around this again to keep the heat in, or at least cover it. Look at those peppers. Big peppers. They're looking good. Last year in our compost pile, we had a whole bunch of mystery squashes. This year, we have potatoes. Those would be the remainder of the red thumb potatoes that we didn't use by the chain link fence. And some sort of tomato. My guess is they're the Roma, but it could be any number of tomatoes that we ended up composting the seeds. And some onions. They should be interesting to see how these do. They're just really, really lush in here. This is our Crispo squash, which is getting nice and big. We've got one fruit over. Oh my goodness, look at the little frog. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, we got frogs absolutely everywhere. I love it. One over there. And I hand pollinated this one. Don't know if it'll take yet. But that's all we've got on there. And then we are actually getting some pole beans beginning to mature. These are the Seychelles pole beans. And there's these ones over here getting nice and tall. And there's a one on the other side that you can just barely see. It's not getting tall yet. But yeah, so at least we're going to get some kind of beans out of here. Looks like it's time to pick some cherries. These are the sour cherries from a tree that is originally from Poland. So it doesn't actually match our climate, but we do manage to get some cherries eventually. And we got our zucchini in the pots here. They're not doing well, but we do finally have a female flower. Whether or not it gets pollinated, I don't know. But oh look, there's another one. I didn't spot this one this morning. We do have another female flower. And this is the Magda squash, and there's no flowers on here at all yet. Skunk. I see you, skunk. I hear you, skunk. Go away, skunk. Go away, skunk. Hello, button. Alright, we are now in the old kitchen garden, and these forme decor tomatoes are looking incredibly lush. And got lots of tomatoes all over the place. But so far, nothing is turning red yet. And then over here, we have the chocolate cherry, which is just going up and up and up and up and up. Way up there. Pretty amazing. I've had to tie some rope around here to keep them from collapsing down to the ground. I haven't really done any pruning or taking off any suckers. Just hasn't been happening this year. But that doesn't seem to be causing them any problems. And we have the strawberries over here, the thyme, the chamomile, the stray onions, and more of these strawberries. And then we have the loofah, which is looking pretty good. It's starting to get up into the tree, the lilacs over here as well. And the problem is, this is what they should have been like in, end of June, beginning of July. Over here we have the garlic that has a volunteer tomato in it. So I'm leaving that. Aside from watering the tomato, I'm not watering this bed at all. Nor am I watering any of the other garlic, because I'm hoping to harvest them in the next few days. These are also about a month behind. Some garlic here, and then some garlic over here. In the retaining wall, we've got our San Marzano tomatoes and our mint. And the tomatoes over here are not doing as well, but we do have, finally, a second tomato starting to ripen, along with this one over here. And that's it so far for the San Marzano ripening tomatoes. But you'll see the difference between these ones and the ones in the main garden soon. Hello, mamas. I think they're both mamas. I'm not sure. I know the bottom one is. Anyways, this is our these are our grapes, which this trellis, it should actually be up like this, but it's collapsed under the weight of all these grapes, and there's a lot of grapes in here. But still very green. Got a bit of time before we can think of harvesting any of these. As long as we can manage it before the raccoons eat them all. That's going to be our challenge. So I look forward to figuring out where to transplant these and build a proper trellis for them. One that can handle all this weight. So this area is a bit of a fail. We've not been able to keep up on the weeding. But right here is where the saffron crocuses were transplanted. And they're hidden by weeds. Believe it or not, I have weeded this area several times. And we just can't keep up with it. But what we do have over here is the Liberty apple tree. Hang on. There we go. And it's doing all right. This is not wrapped around all the way there. Just got to get rid of that creeping bellflower. Just invading everything. But yeah, this is the tulip patch, the rest of it there. And there's volunteers coming up and all kinds of things. It's out of control. This is our Albion Everbearing strawberry bed. These are the ones that were eaten by deer. And much to my amazement, they are recovering nicely. They are blooming, and I've even harvested a single ripe strawberry already. And yeah, I'm really impressed with this variety. And then on this side over here, there's really nothing happening. Oh, it's even looking worse. This is our poor, sad little Zucca melon that got devastated by the slugs. Alright, now we're at the onion bed. These are doing okay, except for I think the cats tend to lie on them, roll on them, or whatever. That's like, who's that? Oh, who's that? Oh, that's Shop Towel. Yeah. So those are the onions, yellow bulbing onions. This is the white scallop squash, which is getting bigger, but still no flowers. And then the G-Star squash, which is looking amazing, nice and big. And we're actually going to have some patty pans to harvest. And then we have the shallots over here, which look like they've been rolled over. Another bed that I am impressed with is the melon bed. This has just 4 of the, what is it, Summer of Melons blend at the end here. And the rest are Pixie and Sarah's Choice and a single surviving watermelon. But the watermelon is blooming, and we do have, I don't think that one's going to make it, but that's the one watermelon that has shown up. But we do have quite a lot of melons forming. And we've got some big ones over here. This would be the Sarah's Choice. And then, I'm not sure, I think this one here is a Pixie. And these ones over here would be the Summer of Melons blend, so I don't know what they are. Alright, we're into the winter squash over here. This is the bed that was planted later, and looks like we're losing another one here. We've got the corn interplanted in here, and they recently got hit hard with gusts of wind, flattening them, so I put the twine through that you can see to straighten them. You can actually see the winter squash seem to be dying off for this season already, even though, well, I mean, with the weather we've been having, it's who knows, right? But yeah, we're still waiting on the corn to ripen. It's supposed to be 55 days. I honestly don't know how long it's been. I haven't tried to keep track. But what else do we... There's got to be other ones in here, I think. Oh yeah, here's another one that looks like we've... Yeah, this one is going to be dying off. But around this side, we have a nice big one over here developing. That's looking pretty good. We've got some over here. Not a lot in this bed. This bed is a bit behind, quite a bit behind. This is the winter squash bed that was transplanted first, and things are doing quite well in here. I'm really liking this big bugger. It's starting to get its harder shell, and we actually have some of the Carmenade beans ripening. They're looking pretty good. We actually have beans to harvest this year. And we've got some squash still developing. We did have one big one in here, but it rolled over onto its top and broke its own stem, so we had to harvest that one. We have another one developing here. And go around. And on this side, it's actually getting hard to get at things at the end here. So the Dalve shelling peas, we've been able to harvest a little bit now and then. Not a lot, but, you know, enough to have a snack. Look at how big that bugger's getting. Beautiful. And then we've got, check this out. Don't know if that one got pollinated, but should be interesting. And try and get through here. Here's one of our pumpkins. The biggest and oldest one is turning nice and yellow. Orange, I should say. And then, just trying to not step on any vines here. I think we're going to lose this one. Got more pumpkins on this side. And these are the drum gourds. One for sure is going to die off. Not sure about this one. And then got a drum gourd over here. There's a pumpkin over there that we lost. I just left it there to decompose. A couple more pumpkins. And then we get into the pepper and onion bed. Try and see. Got lots of beautiful peppers happening in here. We've actually harvested the purple peppers have been the fastest. The big green ones here. The dragonfly is a purple variety, and then the purple beauty. The dragonflies are at this end. And even though I've harvested, I seem to recall... Oh, there had been one. It's missing. Huh. The pepper's gone. Okay, there was a pepper at the end there that was turning purple. He's not there anymore. But, yeah, we got a nice crop of peppers that will hopefully have time to mature before things get cold. In this bed, on this side, we've got the onions that are going to seed. It's taking an amazingly long time for these flowers to die off and go to seed. I got this one flower here that it blooms and finishes blooming very quickly, but I've been grabbing the seed heads and dropping the seeds elsewhere. And on this side, you can see we got some melons showing up in here. The winds that we had did a number on these onions, like broke some of them off. Got some more melons under there. Everything's just tipping over. And we've got our bush beans have actually survived, and little tiny, tiny beans are forming. So we might actually have bush beans to harvest. And I got some more melons over here. I'm really happy with how many melons I'm seeing on here, because we got some big ones already, and there's still these ones forming as well. There's all different growing seasons for these in this variety pack. But they don't really like to climb this netting. I've been trying to train them up and using twine and stuff like that, but they don't want to climb, which is interesting considering they are a vining plant. But whatever. We're getting melons. That's the important part. And there are frogs absolutely everywhere. I walk around and have to avoid stepping on them. Look at that, look at that, look at that. There's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. They're everywhere. I love it. So many frogs. Oh, and there's Rolando Moon. So this crabapple tree actually has a few apples forming on it. Very few. But at least there's something. And there's this crabapple tree, which seems to have absolutely 0 apples on it. And that has a lot to do with the timing of the rains that we had. A lot of things did not get properly pollinated. And I think this tree is dying anyhow. But the good news is this tree, which has tasty apples, has lots of apples on it. And then there's these 2 over here, which have edible apples as well. And this one, these 2 actually, have much larger crab apples. They'll get quite a bit bigger than this. And so we'll have apples on here at least. The silver buffalo berry, I'll get my mouth to work properly eventually, is bushing out quite nicely. I'm quite happy with this. And as you can see, we have not been mowing out here because, well, our lawnmower broke. So we've got a push mower that won't start, a riding mower that won't cut. So all I've got right now is a weed whacker and a grass whip. So, but oh, this poor thing has got clover getting into it. But anyway, so the silver buffalo berry is getting quite nice and big. And then we got the cranberries are doing, well, this one seems to be okay. And then there's this one over here. And then we have our 2 surviving sea buckthorn. They seem to be bushing out nicely. And then we have our single sad little raspberry over here. We've not been able to do much with it. And then these 2 didn't survive the winter. And then we got, oh, these guys are looking pretty good. They've finally recovered and started to grow. This is 1 mulberry. And then 2 mulberry. So they seem to have recovered from their transplanting, and I look forward to seeing how they do in the next few years. And that is it for our garden tour for August 10th, mid-August. And, well, it's been a weird year. I really don't know what to say about it, because we got some things that are doing good and some things that aren't doing good. It's just been a very odd year. But it is what it is, and we'll see what we get when things finally get to the point where the frosts hit and everything dies off. But until then, we'll just do the best we can, right? I mean, what else can you do? Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you'd enjoyed it. And, you know, that whole hit like and subscribe thing if you want. And I'll see you in a month when I do the September 10 garden tour. And hopefully we'll not, have frost.